Welcome to Let's Go There, a podcast featuring a group of women with a wide range of life experiences in dealing with everyday challenges. We hope you will enjoy this episode.
Hello, Ava.
Hi, Kim. How are you doing today?
Very well, thanks. And yourself?
Really well, thank you.
Great.
So today we're going to be talking about coercive control. Now, coercive control is actually is actually in the legal definition of domestic abuse within the UK, and there's also a coercive control act that exists within the UK, quite an innovative act that came into force in 2015. I mean, this act is really looking at how one person can effect so much control over another person that it just limited what sociologist Liz Kelly called it limits their space for action. Limits what they think that they're able to do. So in terms of coercive and controlling behavior, I mean, the definitions are, continuous behaviors that are controlling or coercive and has a serious effect on the person. And they know that the person who's perpetrating the coercive and controlling behavior knows that it will have a serious effect. So it pertains to people who are living together or in an intimate relationship with a person. And furthermore, so some examples of coercive and controlling behavior. So we talked about some of those before, like put downs, this jealous surveillance, constantly wanting to know where a person is, constantly checking their phones to find out where they've been, who they've been with, what they've been doing. And it can carry on to, wanting to be abusive in terms of using the internet, publish intimate details, report the person to the authorities, damaging personal property, and also, forcing a person to take part in criminal activity, or even be abusive to a child, threatening to kill or harm a person's child. So it's a lot of things. And one of the other things is, isolating a person from their family and friends. And it's very difficult. It can be very difficult to identify coercive control because, like other forms of abuse, it can be difficult to kind of distinguish between somebody who's really into you as a person and is caring and is compassionate and is romantic, to being somebody who seems to want to know everything about a person, want to know everything about, what's going on, almost as if you didn't exist before they knew you didn't have an independent life. And one of the things about coercive and controlling behavior is just this drip effect. It's something that starts small, but just gradually increases. And the person who's been victimized doesn't quite realize just how bad it's gotten, almost until it's too late, because so much of their control over their lives has been eroded over time by this person. And one of the popular things to use in terms of domestic abuse kind of intervention is to use the power and control wheel, that Duluth power and control wheel, to actually get people who've been victim survivors to have a look and see how much of their power and control has been eroded through their association with this person who's perpetrated coercive control in their life.
Yes, indeed. And the coercive control strategy it's almost like a brainwashing scenario. It basically replaces the narrative of the survivors, so the victims self-talk and in regards to what they think about themselves, how they see themselves. Gradually the victim's voice is eroded and, you know, basically replaced with the abusive narrative, almost like it's gospel, it's truth. And you know, the behaviors can be very different in each case because it depends on the victim's the way the victims perceives what that person or the perpetrator is doing to them as well. And, you know, like you rightfully said, you know, it's quite damaging to your self-esteem and to your confidence as well, where you get involved in this sort of like this sort of charm as well. You know, I call it a charm because it does start out as a perpetrator being quite charming, quite loving, put you on a pedestal, using a tactic called love bombing, which is like sending you texts, writing you letters, sending you flowers, basically bringing you under their spell and intoxicating you with sort of like a false sense of love. And basically making you feel that, you know, this person adores you, wants the best for you. And then the controlling starts to happen slowly but surely within the relationship. And you know, like you said, isolating you from your support system is the key number one factor here, because if they can move you far away from your family and your friends, then you have no support system. You have no one to talk to. You've got no one else talking to you. You've only got one person saying something to you on a regular basis, which is eroding your self-esteem every single day. And you know, denying you freedom, and not allowing you to do things that you want to do, such as going out for shopping. And you know, you're not allowed access to going back to school to study, to make your life better. It's a form of it's a way of saying that you can't do anything without me. You need me. And that's another form of control. Another form is called gaslighting, which I really, really was dying to touch on. And where the abuser must always be right, and they will force the victim to acknowledge this. And they'll manipulate you with lies and get their ways to convince you. So, for example, say a partner comes home from work expecting their dinner to be served, and they said that they wanted steak before they left. And when you serve dinner, they might throw it on the floor, scream, yell at you, and said, you know, I didn't ask for steak, I wanted burger, claiming that you're stupid and that you can't follow simple directions. And then what happens is, if this happens constantly, you find yourself questioning your own memory, apologizing, remaking dinner, believing that you got it wrong. Maybe you misunderstood. And it comes from a movie, and I know we discussed this, Ava, about a movie it's called Gaslight. And
Yes.
you know, it's about the husband was so devious and manipulative and torments his wife constantly. And you know, and that's where the term gaslighting comes from.
I wanted to pick up on that term because I actually watched that film when I was younger, and it's such a powerful film. If the opportunity, if anyone listening to this gets the opportunity to watch that film, it's phenomenal. It's about a husband trying to convince his wife that she's losing her mind because he wanted to get her money, to have her put into a mental institution so he could gain access to her money. Just these subtle things that he did. So, for example, if you can imagine, you know, you're drinking a cup of tea and you put the cup down and you look around and there's no cup of tea. And she'll say, oh, well, you know, I was drinking a cup of tea. And he would say, well, no, you weren't drinking a cup of tea. There's no cup. But he would have moved the cup and put it somewhere else. And he just kept moving things slightly so the woman was thinking, oh my goodness, am I losing my mind? So that gaslighting terminology comes from that film Gaslight, where a person is really attacking the whole person's sense of self, sense of who they are, their integrity. And you know, in that coercive control phenomena in terms of domestic abuse that actually came out of research with women who were victimized. And the person who came up with the term was Evan Stark, and he interviewed women at in the um, A&E departments in America about their experiences, and noticed a pattern in terms of people who had experienced domestic abuse, in that there was always this controlling element, this person trying to gain control over every aspect of the person. And oftentimes, the physical side of abuse, the physical abuse comes when that person starts to resist control, when they start to question, but why do you need to know everywhere I'm going? Once that person feels, once the
Mm,
perpetrator of coercive control feels that they're losing their footing as far as the control is concerned, the taunting, everything might escalate into physical abuse to regain more control, if you like. Uh,
mm,
but additional to that, it's all of the strategies that people who are being victimized in a coercive, controlling relationship, all of the things that they're having to do, to think about, and it's taking up space in their head. So instead of thinking, what they have to do to get through their day and the things that are important to them, they're constantly thinking about what they need to do for this partner or spouse who's abusive, because they have to think of them first all the time. So it's almost like this person has taken a godlike figure in that person's life. Think
mm,
me and my needs and what I need, and what that person needs is paramount over anything else that's going on within that relationship, that household, that family.
mm. Yeah, indeed, indeed. And another form of coercive control is, it's quite bizarre, this one, reinforcing traditional gender roles, where the perpetrator justifies that women are homemakers and mothers while men are the breadwinners. And using this argument, they may coerce you into taking care of all the cleaning, the cooking, and the children. And you find this quite um, evidently in marriages or relationships where the religion plays a heavy part in this, and in some religions it's deemed that the man is the head of the household, and that these are the roles of a woman: to cook, to clean, to make, to look after the children, to do all the housework, and whilst the men go out to work. A bit of a caveman approach. Another one is turning your kids against you as well. Using the kids as a weapon against you, making the children probably stand in front of you, to telling you that you're stupid, to demoralize you, to belittle you in front of them as well. And this can be quite devastating for a victim, because they are trying to juggle an abusive relationship, juggle a home, and looking after your kids, and trying to do the right thing all the time, and then to have your children stand in front of you, to be belittled by your partner, or even to be your children to actually be saying horrible things to you as well, by the instructions of the perpetrator. If anything, can knock your confidence and your self-esteem. That would be it as well. And last but not least, like controlling aspects of your health and body, like monitoring how you eat, how you sleep, time spent in the bathroom. And your abuser may require you to even count calories in your food, and and make you do strict exercise, telling you about probably that you're too fat, and maybe you need to lose weight. And to the point of even controlling your medication as well, that using medication as a form of blackmail, as well as that if you don't do as I say, you'll not get your medication, and then you'll get sick, and then you'll die. And you may feel as though it's almost like walking on eggshell all the time, and in regards to your body and your health and everything that you're doing.
So, yes, it's an act, it's a law. Witnessing abuse for children is also in the current Domestic Abuse Act. So please find out more about coercive control and the Coercive Control Act, and get informed and have conversations about these things. But for now, we need to say bye for now.
Thank you, Ava. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you found it inspiring and insightful. If you have been affected by any of the issues raised today, feel free to contact the Association of Christian Counselors in your area. For more information about our ministry, please visit www.ntcg.org.uk/WDM.